Naturally.
And there it is, that halo look hanging right over his head.
Yeah.
And then investigated by a fellow that did document research for the FBI to establish that it was not an overlay, or it wasn't
Yeah.
a light in the background. It was actually a supernatural light.
And I think what's interesting too is that that picture was taken in lieu of the fact that a minister was trying to make mockery of Brother Branham, and he had his personal photographer take shots of Brother Branham while he even had his fist in Brother Branham's face and says, "We're going to put this in my magazine." And that photographer took those pictures and developed them, and not one of those slanderous, evil pictures showed up on his film. And the only one that showed up, all of his film was blank, except for one. And the one that showed up was the one of Brother Branham with the halo over his head. None of those other ones that made Brother Branham look like somebody that was defeated or somebody that was being bested by this other organizational preacher.
And Brother Bosworth, too, was in on that.
Yeah.
Many of the pictures were Brother Bosworth, and God wouldn't even permit that.
Yeah, exactly.
To defile that grand old man.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I just thought that was marvelous. And then that man, that photographer, was so humbled that he took that one picture and he wanted to ensure. He went to Brother Branham's men and says, "I got something I got to show you." And he shows him that picture, and Brother Branham said, "Get it authenticated."
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that same light, there was a picture of it in Camden, Arkansas, and they it didn't get out very much. It was almost like laying on his shoulder.
Right, right.
And then there was one that we can show you here that was he was talking about the light, and some photographers, when he was in Switzerland, asked about, do you think it would be possible that we could get a picture of that light like the other one was? He says, "I don't know, maybe God would permit it." So he says, when the angel of the Lord comes, he says, "I'll tell you." And then they said, "Okay, we'll take a picture then." And so after a while he said, "He's coming." And then he said, "He's here now." And then he went on speaking. And then he said, "He's leaving now." And at each of those, they took a picture, and here's the light coming into the room. When he's here, here's the light over his head. And then when the next picture, you can see it, there, the light is leaving the room. So God allowed it again to be vindicated. And when you talk about a vindicated ministry, you can't hardly go beyond the fact that the pillar of fire itself is there to vindicate a ministry. Many people may talk about their anointing and their gift, and like we've already read in the scriptures, demonstrate things of the supernatural. But this is the only one I know that had an angel accompanying his ministry, and the pillar of fire was there to vindicate God's prophet to this last days.
That's right.
All right, so we've discussed seed, and here's a little more on that thought. If we plant wheat or corn or barley, and actually most crops, the cycle starts with the seed and ends with the seed. So as I said before, Jesus repeatedly told John the Revelator, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last." So they're all basically saying the same thing. As Jesus manifested at Alpha, he will manifest again at Omega. We compare that with the seed plant, and we put a seed into the ground, and it goes through a process, which is most of the time involved, but then at harvest time, it's back to grain again. And so therefore, if we are in the season of grain again,